Hi, Addie.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Just trying to close some of these. I have way too many screens open.
How was your weekend?
It was wonderful. I'm loving this great fall weather, and I haven't been in the studio much since school started again, and I spent almost all of yesterday in the studio, so that was fabulous. How was your weekend?
This scarf you sent us was very nice.
Oh,
It
thanks.
was great, thank you.
Is my
We had a
microphone?
wonderful time.
Yes, I hear you now.
Okay,
It functions now.
awesome.
And how are you?
Good. I am good.
Good. So we have a couple more minutes to see if everyone else pops on. Do you guys have any questions about stuff from last week or where we're going next week while we're kind of hanging out?
Yes, I have questions.
Awesome.
I don't understand the assignment.
Okay, well that's good. I know this week's assignment's a little bit kind of out there. So yeah, I definitely wanted to touch base on that. Was the when I went onto the site today, the video that I had put up wasn't working. Did the video work for you earlier, or has it been down?
Code.
Okay, so I did fix that, which may answer some of your questions because that is me explaining it some. But while we're on here today, I'm going to go over it and answer questions until everybody says, I totally get what you're talking about.
Okay.
Do you want to start asking? Oh, you're going to knit while we're chatting.
This is the
I like
crochet
it. Oh, you're crocheting. Yeah, you only have one hook.
Yes.
What are you making?
A crab leg.
Oh. So is this going to turn into a crab? Cool. Are you making that for someone or just for fun?
I'm going to donate it to the local Marine Science Center.
Very cool. So do you spend a lot of time crocheting?
Not really.
Just had the urge to make a crab? Nothing?
I like crabs.
There was, where do you live?
Paulsbo, Washington.
Okay. There was maybe 3 years ago now, this like huge crochet exhibit in Washington, D.C. that I went to see that was all about like underwater life and growth. It was really cool. So it was just a room full of like everything crocheted.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. I normally am like I'm like a binge crocheter, so I don't do it at all, and then when I start I like get really out of control into it, and then I have to like take a break again.
That's how I am with most things.
Yeah. Yeah. Not so good with the middle ground, which isn't always bad. So are you following a pattern or are you making up your crab?
I am following a pattern.
Okay.
But I think by this time I've made enough legs to have memorized it.
Yeah, I'm not much of a pattern person myself. I just don't have that long of attention span. I normally stop following directions after a couple steps.
I like crochet patterns. I hate sewing patterns is what I hate.
Okay. Okay. All right.
There's another person.
More people are popping on. Well, Addie was on and now we lost her. Natalia, am I saying your name right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Natalia.
Cool. We had 3, and now we're back down to 2. Addie always gets kicked off of here. We'll give him a couple more minutes, and then we'll jump in, because my clock says it's 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And switch to my notes to make sure I tell you everything. All right, well, what I'm going to do, since I'm thinking more people are going to show up, but since they're not here, so we're going to start kind of with the question phase of things. And if you two want to just start, because I know there's confusion about this week's assignment, which may be cleared up now that I have the video fixed, but I'd rather just answer your questions while I'm on here anyway, because it's easier than shooting emails back and forth. So any questions you have about what the heck you're doing?
My question was, what am I supposed to turn in for assignment 3?
Okay, perfect.
What do you actually want to see?
Yes, I'm going to pull up what I wrote just so I make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, so for assignment 3, it's probably going to be a pretty broad range as to what people are turning in. So basically, hey guys, Parker and Jared just popped in. So basically what you're turning in for assignment 3 is, the whole goal of that is just to sort of like totally set you free and get you to experiment, get you to try new materials that maybe you don't use, but to do it without the pressure of like having to have something good. So basically, I want you to try a couple different experiments, and you're just showing me what you did. So it may be like this thing that doesn't look that cool with a little bit of an explanation of, I did this, 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 and this, and like this worked or this didn't work. So it's definitely not about, I mean, the end result might end up being beautiful, but it's definitely not about it overall being this wonderful looking thing. So I'm not going to be grading it with like the drawing rubric. I'm more looking at it, did you try some new things? Did you push yourself out of your comfort zone? And then did you learn something from it? Because there's just so much that you can do. So this is a way that everybody can dive in really deep, really quickly. And then I'm going to share all of your experiments with the class so that you can also see what other people did, what worked for them, what didn't work for them, or maybe they tried something that will kind of spark something in you that you're like, oh, whoa, that would be really cool. So the challenge of it is it's sort of like this open-ended thing. But the main thing I want you to do is just like whenever those thoughts run through your head of, I wonder what would happen if I did this, like then go and do it and see what would actually happen, and not worrying about, because it can be hard when we're working on what's supposed to be a finished piece or a project piece to let ourselves totally go when you're sort of like, oh, if I do this, I might destroy the whole thing that kind of holds us back. So this is to let out your wild side. Does that make sense to everybody?
That does make a lot more sense than that was actually written.
Good. I think it's more in the, I think I explained it more in the video. I made the video a while ago, so I forget what I said. But that's what you're doing.
Okay. So you want to see a couple of pieces in which we experimented with what we were doing with media.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not sure as you're going along, if you're like, I don't know if I'm on the right track or not, you can, you know, because you have 2 weeks for that, so you can send me progress things too and be like, I just want to see if this is making sense, anything like that. So right now, for those of you that are just kind of popping in, I'm answering questions about your assignments for this upcoming week. I did see today when I went on the site that I had made a video for you that was explaining things in more detail, and it wasn't loading right anymore. So I fixed that, and hopefully it remains fixed. So you will see there's a little bit more instruction there, but while we're on here, just ask anything that you're confused so I can hopefully unconfuse you.
So one more question.
Sure.
I used to do a page of each of the things you put in that really long list of.
Yeah, the sketchbook thing.
Okay.
Yep. And as far as what you consider to be a sketchbook, I'm totally fine with. So like this, you know, this is my little sketchbook. So it could be within a book. If you don't want to put it in a book, it can just be on pieces of paper. I don't really care what you consider a sketchbook. And that again, so really the focus this week is to get you to play with more materials, more mediums, and this week's more about experimenting than anything else. So that's what that is. It shouldn't take you tons of time unless you're like, oh, I'm really having fun with this one. I want to go farther with it. Some of those could actually lead into your experimental pieces because a lot of them aren't going to result in anything finished. The sketchbook things are going to more so result in having like a background image on a page. So you can also, if you're thinking like that's getting you excited and that's really interesting, you can use that to feed into any of your work moving forward. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. I think as far as, and I wanted to touch base on schedules. So I think I've gotten most people's schedules. If you emailed me your schedule, you should have gotten an email back from me today. And for the most part, everybody's looked pretty good. You're all kind of doing them slightly differently, and that is really fine. The ultimate goal of the schedule is so that you have something to kind of track yourself because it's such a big amount of work that you're doing to make sure that you're actually on track. It's not like it's this thing that's, I mean, the end date is set in stone. The rest of it is not. So remembering you may have to make adjustments sometimes. So maybe one week you thought you were going to get more than you actually did, then that just means potentially the next week you have to make more. So it's just to kind of help keep you tracking things. And then my other recommendation is, because some of you sort of have a plan that you're finishing one piece every week, some of you are working on a couple pieces at a time, which is totally fine. You all have different working styles. That, especially if you want to work on a couple pieces at a time, that each week you're either turning in a finished piece or you're turning in a progress piece so that you're still getting feedback from me. We'll do some class critiques too, so you're getting feedback from your classmates, just so you're getting that information really consistently so that you don't get like 6 pieces done and then you look at it and be like, I don't think this matches your concentration. And that's kind of the same as everything else that we're doing. As you're working, if you're struggling, shoot me an email, ask me questions. You know, it's not like you can't email me something on Wednesday if you said you were going to email it to me on Friday. I will say for the most part, in my schedule each week, I specifically have Monday and Tuesday night blocked out for doing, like, answering AP emails, doing AP grading. So whenever things come in Sunday night, Monday, and on Tuesday, you're probably going to get a response pretty quickly from me. So some of you probably got a lot of emails from me today. I most definitely do respond other days in the week. I'm just not always quite as fast, especially depending on the length of the response. So if you want to factor that into your plan, you can. If that doesn't really matter to you, that's totally fine. But just so you know, if you submit a piece to me to critique on Thursday, it might take me a little bit longer. If I get it on Monday, I pretty much sit and like just bang all that out. But your schedules are looking pretty good thus far. All right, we went over the sketchbook stuff. We went over number 3. I also am going to, tomorrow, you don't have to do them. They're just to give you some more ideas. So I'm going to scan a bunch of other kind of like alternate material activities and projects that I do with some of my students in a whole variety of classes. They are not, you're welcome to do them as part of your experimentation if you want to. When you look at it, you'll see it's sort of written like an assignment, but it's not an assignment you have to do. I'm just going to put them up there if you feel sort of stuck and you need somewhere to start, that would be a helpful thing for you to start. But they're not assignments that you have to do. Any questions about all that? Cool.
But just one question I had.
Sure.
Is the sketchbook that I have to do, are we supposed to fill up like the whole sketchbook, or how many of those are we supposed to do? Just
You're gonna do all of those.
Okay.
Well, that's like 39 pages.
Like how many pages?
39.
Oh, okay. Cool, thank you.
But most of it is like pretty fast. You know, like the first one is a 2-color wash. A lot of them are really quick. And like I said before, if you know, some people hold their sketchbooks like near and dear to their heart and are really picky about what's going into it. You can also just be putting this on like computer paper or cheap drawing paper. It can go in your sketchbook if you want to. Whatever surface you wish to do things on, if you want to cut up cardboard boxes and do it on that, that's totally fine. It's about getting you to do a whole bunch of different things that maybe you don't normally do. And then, like I said, some of those might turn into backgrounds for your experimentation pieces. Some of them might turn into backgrounds for your concentration pieces, or we might end up using some of them as we get into breadth. So we're sort of always doing kind of this back and forth jumping of working on your concentration, but also doing things that are exposing you to new things, inspiring you, and that will lead into other things as we go down the pathway. So while that list is long, if you're totally having fun doing something, then spend more time on it, but none of them should take super long. That's why also for the third assignment, the experimentation one, you have 2 weeks to do that, because I want you to have time for your concentration.
2 weeks for all the 39 pages, right?
Yeah.
Sounds great, thank you. That helps a lot.
So that there's, which actually I'm going to change the date on that because I didn't type it that way, but I will. So when you look at your assignment sheet, we're going to make number 2 and number 3 on your checklist both due October 5th. You're welcome to turn them in sooner if you want to, but that gives you a little bit of like wiggle room planning wise.
And do all 39 have to be scanned here and sent, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Because that's going to drive some of you insane. Let's say that I'm just going to trust that you're doing them. And how about you choose your 10 favorite? Does that sound good?
That sounds great. Thank you.
You're scanning for a whole afternoon.
Because like my scanner takes like 5 minutes with each one, and it's like.
Yeah, I understand. My scanner is not the fastest either.
Yeah.
Choose your 10 favorites so that you're not chained to your scanner.
Sounds great.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the next week's assignment?
Next week meaning this week or literally
Okay,
like
this week. Oh my goodness. This week. I'm making things up now.
Okay, so this week's assignments, all of them are actually supposed to span like 2 weeks.
Yes. Yes.
We won't get new assignments next Monday.
What?
We won't get new assignments next Monday?
Next Monday, you're going to continue working on your concentration, and then I'm going to work on, I haven't totally decided what I'm doing yet, but I'm going to give you, like, do some more video, kind of informative things for you, but it probably won't be anything big. What I want right now, because a couple of people are sort of falling a little bit behind, and I want to bring everybody back up before we go wild. So for week 5 and week 6, you're going to do the experimentation stuff, and you're going to like kick butt on your concentration, and then we'll kind of jump back in with everything.
All right.
So mainly next week, if you send me concentration stuff this week, you'll be getting critiques, and I'll share all of them. But these next 2 weeks, we're going to sort of focus on getting a good handle start on your concentration and some experimentation going on, so everybody is back on the same page. All right? Sound doable?
Yeah, sounds great.
You're like, of course I'm not going to argue with that. All right. So.
One thing, it was really interesting. The gesture drawing was really interesting.
Good. How many?
I found it very.
What did you say?
Hard on the shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Same here.
Yeah, I did a lot of the things you guys do, I do with my AP class that I teach in person, and so we were doing the same things this week, and they were all complaining that their shoulders hurt. So maybe we need to add some like push-ups and things in here. We could get everybody stronger so they can handle their drawing.
Robot.
I did make them do some like crazy movement exercises that you guys got out of. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
Pretty interesting though. I've never done anything like that.
the movement exercises.
No, like the gesture drawing.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
pole, with the skate.
So how did most of you feel about the gesture drawing? Like,
It was nothing new for me.
okay. How many of you was it totally new, you hadn't done it before?
I hadn't done it
Me.
with like the stick.
I haven't done it.
Okay. Okay. So we had a couple different things going on. So what I'm actually going to do is, if all goes well, I'm going to flip my screen, so you're going to stop seeing me. And I pulled a whole bunch of gesture drawings from this week. I think there's some things that people resubmitted. So kind of what I'm doing is I just keep pulling work that you guys send in. And we're going to do a little bit of a live critique. So we're just talking about the work while we're looking at it instead of doing lots of writing. And what I'm going to have you do, I don't think I'll be able to, I think you disappear when I do this to me, is just when you start to talk, if you can say who you are. So I'm not trying to guess by everybody's voices because this kind of takes over what I'm doing.
Doesn't Google Hangouts do the little green dot things near the icon of who's talking?
Sometimes it does, but when I share my screen with you, my screen goes a little bit crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, Google Hangout, it can be a little bit glitchy at some points. Like right now, my camera like just won't turn on right now. Is it on?
I can't see because I just blocked you guys off so I could show you my screen.
I don't see anything. It went black.
Because like when I'm talking, everybody's seeing this strange scientist guy.
Yeah. So do all of you see my screen that says week 4 student work?
Your screen is black.
No, I'm unable to see it either.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Oh, it's back.
So now what do you see?
Oh, I see it now.
I see a PowerPoint.
Oh, that's weird. So when I put it into view mode, I think I lost you. Let's see if did it go black again?
Yes.
Okay. So turns out I can't put it in like full view mode or it goes black. That's okay. This will still work. So what I'm going to do first so that you have a little bit of time to think is I'm just going to slowly go through so that you can see all of the images. And if you want to, you can jot, it's up to you. If you're good at like thinking on the fly, go for it. If you want to jot down some notes for yourself of what we're going to kind of talk about, do you think they really captured the gesture, the overall feeling? What emotions do you see? What movement do you see? What do you think is working? So any thoughts about each piece? So I'll give you a little time. I'm going to shut up and just let you look at the images, and then we'll go back through and talk about them. All right, that's all of them, so I'm going to fly all the way back up to the top. Okay, so what we're going to start by having you do is, and I don't even remember whose is whose because I just was grabbing things as I was grading. So we're going to start by you are going to reveal if we're looking at your work, and then I want you to tell us a little bit about kind of the methods that you did, how you chose the poses, what you thought went really well for you, what you thought didn't go really well for you, and then we'll kind of chat as a class. So, go for it.
This one is mine, and I'm Karina. And I actually didn't use a live model for any of mine.
Okay.
There's a site called pixelovely.com that provides images of models.
What's it called?
Pixelovely?
Like P-I-C-S?
No, P-I-X-E lovely.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So the pose was kind of random. I just did this on the big newsprint pad with a brushy Copic marker. Because I found it flowed better than like charcoal sticks or pastel sticks, and also because I'm most comfortable with markers.
So, did you do any in charcoal or did you do all with the marker?
I did like 2 in charcoal, and I was like, this isn't flowing at all. They just kept jerking on the paper, so I didn't do any in charcoal.
Yeah, that is totally. Totally fine. So you said you've done gesture drawing before, yes?
Yes, I have. Live and with regular pictures.
Okay, so you're fairly comfortable with it because you've done it a decent amount. Tell me a little bit about how you decided. So in this one, you brought some other colors in and layering into it. How did you decide what colors you were going to use and kind of the placement of everything?
Light color for sketching, dark color for lines, mid color for shadows.
All right. So,
it's a gesture drawing. It's not particularly well thought out.
How much can you talk about? So this was your 30-minute one.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not really well thought out. Can you walk us through the limited thought process that you had?
I see shape, I draw shape.
Okay. So
that's how I feel about gesture drawing. The point of gesture drawing is not to think about composition and things like that, but you more get the motion of the subject.
Right. Right.
Not what the subject is sitting on or what it's interacting with, but just the movement of the human body.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of that for me is best done in a sort of instinctual manner.
Yeah.
Little thought, conscious thought put into it.
Right. Well, and it's probably true as well, since you've done it a lot before, that you're much more comfortable with it. And kind of, I mean, it is totally right. You want to try and look at things as shape. When we give things names, then we start to do like wild and crazy things to them. When we can break it down into the shapes, then life tends to be a little bit easier for us. So these were your 2-minute ones.
Yes.
So what I want to hear from anyone else in the class who wants to chime in. So out of these 3, which kind of is the most interesting to you, as in you think it captured the most emotion, the most essence of the figure, and why? Or which just jumps out at you first, and why? And everyone falls silent.
I would, in this artwork, I would choose the figure that popped out the most was the figure at the left, the tall woman, because the perspective was well done, and that the right, I believe it was, yeah, the right foot advances forward, implying some perspective, and the left, I think, yeah, the left arm is hidden behind the figure, which implies more perspective that the arm is behind the figure, and all of these combine to make the figure appear to break the space forward toward at the viewers and imply movement.
Yeah, awesome. I think it is really interesting. When I was going through and looking at all of your drawings and looking at the different times, there's definitely a different quality that comes through in each one of them. So these that were 2 minutes, there's like an extreme effortlessness to them. Where these also, like this one still looks at ease, but it does become a little bit more stylized, and I think actually does bring in some more of kind of like the way you like to draw, where this is just like so free. Did you feel different when you were going from the 2-minute drawing to the 30-minute drawing?
Honestly, I only took like 20 minutes with the 30-minute drawing.
Confession time.
I draw really, really fast.
Okay, so this is normal for you.
Yeah, so
That's cool. That's a good thing when you can draw really fast.
I don't really think I felt much different. The line art part where I did the dark orange was a lot more conscious than just the scribbling. And if you go back to the 30-minute one and look at the cream color sketch underneath it, that was a lot more loose.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah. Cool. All right, on to this one. Is this one still yours, Karina?
Yes.
All right, so tell us a little bit about, because obviously this is different from the gesture drawing, a little bit about this one.
This one, I was, it's a character of my friends, actually. I really just wanted to play with color, especially the contrast between red and blue.
And then this is one that you were upgrading from a previous assignment. Yeah?
Yeah, but not very seriously.
That's okay. What made you decide that you even wanted to take time to kind of revisit this?
I had some different thoughts for framing.
Okay, okay. I think this one is stronger compositionally than the last one. Do you feel better about it?
Yeah, I think it could use some work anatomy-wise and probably in rendering, because I wasn't actually putting that much effort into it.
Yeah, but you have I think this composition is a lot stronger than.
Yeah, that wasn't with the stick, was it?
No, I was using a tablet.
Okay, how did you color it?
With a bamboo pad.
Oh, okay.
So in Photoshop.
Okay, I have one of those.
Yeah, so there's some like random bits of artwork thrown in. Anything that we kind of didn't. Oh, Parker and Jared had to go. So I'll show you their work, but we won't get to hear from them. So these were, and obviously I didn't pull all of your thumbnails or we would be here for a while. So these are Jared's, and these first couple are the 2-minute drawings. And both him and Parker, which we'll look at, were really working with just experimenting with different poses and different perspectives. And I'm pretty sure that they were posing for each other. They have an advantage that you guys don't have, that they're in the same class and can make each other pose. And then these were the longer drawings where he went back in and added some more shading into the pieces. So we're going to jump. Okay, and then these are Jared. So this was the 30-minute drawing, and then he gave a close-up of the face. Part of the reason I pulled this one is because it's also an example, which while we won't do it in your portfolio a whole lot, it is an example of something that you can do. You're allowed to do some details. So if you do a piece, and this could count as one piece, and maybe if there's a section of it that's just absolutely gorgeous and you want to make sure that everyone sees it, you can do a closer up version of it, and then that would be a second piece. So there is a little bit of wiggle room where you can actually kind of like get 2 pieces out of one thing. The other thing to play with, I know some of you are far more comfortable with composition than others, is as you're drawing, if you're not sure if something's working, scan it and photograph it and sit on the computer and play with different croppings. It's kind of the beautiful nature of the computer. And if you're not sure, send it in and we'll share it with the class. But so there you have some room to kind of make decisions without making any serious decisions. Then I don't remember who these are from. Anybody on the call want to claim these?
Those are mine.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit, what were you looking at when you were drawing? We'll start there. What were you looking at when you were drawing?
I found this photo on Pinterest of this girl doing gymnastics, and I really like that sort of stuff, so I thought it would be cool to draw.
Okay.
So.
Have you ever done gesture drawing before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And how did you feel about doing it?
I really liked it. I thought I wouldn't I thought I wouldn't really like it that much, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was really fun.
Oh, good. And so you stuck with the charcoal.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy using charcoal, or were you just like, well, she said use charcoal?
Sorry, I'm sick. Sorry.
Okay.
I haven't really used charcoal before, so I thought it would be cool to experiment with this time around and to like play around with it. So.
So since you enjoy gesture drawing, another thing you might want to try is playing with it with some other mediums, because as I actually do agree with Karina, I hate charcoal. Like, it just makes me really angry. Some people love it, but what you might want to try is also taking some other materials that maybe you really like. Good markers do flow much more beautifully. So since you like the technique, seeing if another material brings you even more interesting line quality and kind of interesting feeling into it. And it is a little bit easier to get big swooping lines with like marker or pen or something else like that. And what were you looking at here?
Another picture I found. It I really like the shadows in this one, and the and how like I could add a little bit of nature into it, because I like drawing nature and stuff, and I thought it was a really cool picture to try.
Did you use the stick for this one?
No, I used charcoal. This was my 30-minute drawing.
Okay, wow, this is I really like it.
Oh, thank you.
What do you like about it, RJ?
I just like the perspective. It has a really unique perspective. Like looking out the window.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. So this is Parker's, who had to leave us. And his I'm actually showing you, he's done in kind of 2 levels of the drawing, which is an interesting way to look at things as well. So this one is his 30-minute just gesture drawing, and you can see a lot of the searching lines going on in here. And then this one, he took the same thing, and he went back in and added shading into it, and he added a little bit background information in it. So what I'd like to hear from you all, from looking at the 2 of them, what are kind of, do they convey the same feeling to you? Do they tell the same story? Or what kind of is the different information that we're getting from one thing that's just line and just really about the line and the shape, where the other one does become more about the position and the figure?
I think that I think maybe that like the lighting, it really changes the mood.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, the one that you have on screen right now, kind of the one that you just had on screen, it reminded me kind of a storyboard almost, kind of like of a animation or a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, oh sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say that they give me a different feeling because they're at differing levels of technical competence. He's obviously much more comfortable with light and shade than he is with mark making.
Uh-huh. Yeah. He definitely is. When you look at all of his work, he definitely is. But I think that's, you know, an interesting thing to look at and think about for yourselves as well, with all of you, as we're kind of going back and forth between experimenting with new things and then kind of falling back into your comfort zone of continuing to kind of compare the work and thinking, what story are you telling? What message are you getting across? Because they're definitely different things. And if you realize that, you know, if he looked at this and was like, you know what, this is closer to the message that I'm trying to tell, then maybe he just needs to practice his mark making some more. But it definitely really informed the second piece, which also you can be using gesture drawing a lot for. It doesn't have to be the end. It's just helping you get some information down on the paper really, really fast before you go too deep with things. All right, what's up next? So these are some more of his just sketches, so his quick drawings. So these are the 2-minute drawings, and I think even with these you'll see, like in here, he started to do some shading, and then it looks like he's so much more comfortable, which is kind of fun to see. And this one I wanted to ask him, because this one suddenly, can you guys see the line change? So his line in this last one, it's a lot bolder, so I'm not sure. I was curious to hear from him if he changed the tool that he was using, or what spurred him on to get a lot bolder in his lines, but we'll have to hear from him later. All right, I think these are Addie's, which she was here, but I think we lost her. So this was her 30-minute drawing. And then these are the much quicker drawings. Whoops, went too far. So her 3 are the chickens. So really quickly, I want to hear from you guys. And out of these 3, so this is 1, 2, and 3, which do you think is the strongest in capturing the essence of the chicken, and why do you think that?
I think number 3 does it best.
Would you say number 3?
Yes.
Okay.
I
And
think
why do you think that?
I think number 3 does it best because it most focuses on essence rather than rendering.
Okay.
Line of the chicken's body and what it's doing.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts from the crowd?
I think the middle one, the one with the chicken running, yeah, is definitely the best.
Do you think this one?
Yeah.
And so why do you think that?
it just seems like it conveys the most motion, and it has just enough detail that you can tell it's a chicken. Like the first one, I couldn't really tell it was a chicken, and like the last one, you could tell it's chicken, but there wasn't much movement. The middle one is definitely like you can tell the chicken is on the move.
Yeah, so I think there's something, and this varies from person to person, and this varies from your drawing experience. So this first one is the 30-minute drawing, and there's something that happened when she was allowed time to actually think that it kind of became a little bit more symbolic, and what started to happen was we saw what in our heads, like we think a chicken looks like, where the other two just tell us so much more about it because there wasn't thinking. It was just quick, like, put the marks of the chicken down. So sometimes when you are drawing, you kind of, like, time can kill you, and you need to just put some marks on the paper and go for it.
I think before we move on, it's important to remember that movement doesn't actually mean a figure that is doing something, like running. It does mean a figure that is just doing something. That's so they don't have to be moving so much as they have to be doing something. A drawing of, for instance, someone reading a book can have a lot of motion in the lines and how they flow, as much as a drawing of someone running can.
So what you're saying is that that a drawing, it isn't what it's doing, it's how it's doing it, right?
Yes.
In a way.
That's how I've always defined motion in drawing, which is different than motion in real life.
Yeah, no, you're totally correct on that. Yes. It doesn't actually have to be moving to show movement. I think, yep, so these are the last three. Whose are these?
Those are mine.
All right, so can you tell us a little bit about what you were looking at?
I wasn't looking at, this was the only drawing that I actually wasn't looking at anything. It was like for my 10-minute drawing, and I'd been drawing like a lot of dancers and stuff, and I got really bored of drawing dancers, so.
So what were you looking at for this one?
I saw a picture on Pinterest, and I wasn't like concerned about like the figure so much as the movement of the lines.
Which is exactly.
And it was really hard to draw detail with the stick.
Okay, so this was one of your stick drawings?
Yeah, they were all stick drawings.
Oh, awesome! Because when they were coming through, I wasn't sure from each person whose was with the stick and whose wasn't with the stick. So what was your experience with gesture drawing at all before?
I'd drawn gesture drawing just like with a pencil or a pen. I hadn't like used this method before.
Okay, so how did you feel when you were drawing with a stick?
I liked it. I used charcoal for the first two on there, and then I didn't like charcoal so much, but that's what I had the most of. And then for the last one, I used graphite, which I like a lot better, and colored pencil.
Okay. So what size were you doing?
They're a mix of size. I think the first one was the smallest. It's about like maybe 6 inches by 5. And then the second one was maybe 10 by 5. And then the last one was the biggest, was I think 12 by 13. I don't remember.
And out of those three, which do you feel is your most successful one?
I like the last one. It was my 30-minute one, and I like the picture the best that I was referencing it from, and I like the graphite a lot better than the charcoal, so I had more fun making it.
Yeah, the material that you're using can make a big difference, so it is important to kind of play around with them and figure out what you like using and what you don't like using.
Yeah, I really like the third one. Has a lot of motion to it, I think.
Yeah, and you have so there are some nice, these kind of like teal lines in here, I think are your strongest lines. Can you talk a little bit about the order of the colors that you use and how you put the things down on the paper?
The photo I was referencing was kind of like a black and white photo, and it had like a little bit of color in it. So I started off with using my graphite, and then I went back and then added the green just to kind of convey motion and kind of give like a contrast.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, those. Go ahead.
The motion in these is good. But there's like a lot of focus on the background. Which I think with the with gesture drawings can take away from the overall picture.
Oh, I was just doing it 30 minutes, and I finished the people in like 10, so I just wanted to add something. That way it wasn't.
I mean, in the other two as well, they have backdrops, and I don't know.
Well, I think some of it yes, normally gesture drawing, there isn't much in the background, but some of it, especially because it's just an exercise, is also space to experiment. And so, that's still something to play with, and kind of how does it feel different to draw the figure versus the background? How do the two things end up looking together? I mean, most definitely traditionally, if we're looking at a strict definition of gesture drawing, it is normally very much just about the figure or about the subject itself. So, I mean, I can totally see what you're saying, that if you were really taking this into a formal piece, you would want to put more of the emphasis on the figure, because gesture drawing is so much about mark making. If there are marks too many places on the page, you have kind of trouble knowing where to go, and it does take away the beautiful marks that are found within the figure.
Yeah, and I only did the background on the 10 and 30-minute one for my, the 2 and the 1-minute ones. They were just straight figures. There was nothing else going on.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So those are all the images I've gotten thus far.
I really like the first one. It almost looks like it has like a story or something. I don't know. It almost looks kind of like the comic book or something.
Mm-hmm.
Was there like a story there or something?
Oh, I like drawing comics. I like reading like Marvel, like The Punisher and Deadpool. So I was kind of playing around with my own comic book character, sort of.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. I love comics too.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna
Cool.
try and come back to you. All right. Okay, so that's everything that I wanted to go over with all of you today. So I will hang out and answer any questions or chat about anything that any of you want to. If you are satisfied, you're free to go whenever, but if you need more help with something or questions, I'm here.
Just to clarify, for our thumbnail sketches of our concentration, did you want those?
Yes, if you haven't sent them to me yet.
Okay, I was confused about that.
Yep, that's just, I basically just want to see them to get a little bit more of a feel, to make sure that what you're saying your statement is visually carries through your 12 pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do the thumbnails we sent you have to correspond to our finished concentration pieces?
Good question. No, you're allowed to change your mind. Artists change their minds, so this is going to be a lot of a give and take process. So yes, it's kind of a start to make sure you're starting on the right path. I expect all of you to change some as you go along. So it's kind of as a guidepost, but most definitely you're allowed to change.
Okay, because I did my thumbnails as more of a visual brainstorming session than an actual planning.
And that's okay. That's okay. Pretty much what I did, based on seeing all of your work, knowing all of you, as I'm looking at your thumbnails, I'm kind of giving you sort of, like, you're not all getting the exact same directions. If I'm like, you're good, then I'm not going to make you be as specific. So yeah, as long as I wasn't like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, you're allowed to change your mind.
Okay.
Most definitely.
That is very good.
She's like, oh crap, I'm in big trouble.
For the sketchbook projects, what does it mean when it says trade books and have another student treat the surface of the page?
You know what? I should have crossed that one off. This is an assignment I do with my kids in person, which normally, so in person, we actually trade books.
Oh, okay.
To do that here.
It's going to be magical. Yeah, so you can cross that one off. Good question.
Okay, thank you.
Should I have like a sketchbook already? I have a few sketchbooks already. Should I like start fresh, or should I just like continue on the one I have right now, or?
So that's totally up to you. I don't even actually, like, sketchbook to me is sort of just a generic term. It can be in a sketchbook of whatever you call a sketchbook. If you don't want to put it in that, it can be pieces of paper. As far as how you like to keep your ideas organized, that's totally up to you. So whatever you want to call a sketchbook is a sketchbook.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Anything else? I think we're good. All right, so remember you basically have this week and next week to do the sketchbook experiments, to do the just point-blank medium experiments, and to keep working on your concentration. If you've fallen behind, catch up a little bit. Feel free to send me things as you get them done, or if you want feedback throughout the process, you don't have to wait until October 5th. I will gladly look at things before then, but this is just kind of a little time to help really dive into your concentration, because sometimes it's good to just get in there and go for it. All right?
All right.
All right.
Oh, well, thanks for hanging out with me. It was good talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very helpful and really cool look at everybody's work.
Yeah, Monday mornings are always exciting for me. I open my inbox and it's just loaded with drawings. All right, I will talk to you all later. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
You too.
Farewell.
Bye.
You too.
I want to see that crab when you're finished, Karina.
I'll send you a picture.
Thank you.
Wait, what crab?
He's hidden.
Oh my gosh! Wait, what is that? Crab?
Yes.
The
That is really cool.
crocheted crab.
That is really cool.
Be our mascot. I don't think we have one of those.
We don't have a mascot, or we don't have a crocheted crab?
I don't think we have a mascot.
We should get a mascot.
I know, exactly. Get on that. Crochet faster.
All right.
Alright.
I will crochet at the speed of lightning.
Do you, shoot, her last name is Hamilton. I think it's Joanne. Let me look real quick. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Is she in the class?
No, she is like a crochet wizard. She draws with crochet.
Well, that sounds unfair and talented.
I know. I'm trying to see if I'm remembering her name right. Shoot, that's not her name. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to switch my screen so you can see her stuff. So,
Whoa.
like
this.
this. Let me see if can you see it still?
That is really not fair.
Aren't they awesome? And they're huge.
Like, how huge?
Well, so some vary. Like this one you can tell because she's in it. So it's like bigger than her.
Wow, that is insane.
Yeah.
That
So
is pretty awesome. I like how she left all the strands like dripping down the bottom.
yeah, the backs,
Man.
she kind of leaves exposed like where she kept changing the colors. Her name, oh, it's just Jo Hamilton. I was close. If you Google her, there's like videos and stuff of her working. So you should do that for your experimentation.
I don't think I'm that talented with crochet.
I'm going to find something you're not comfortable with. She's like, I got gesture drawing down. I'm going to make you draw with a crochet hook.
I could dip it in paint.
You could dip it in paint. That's cheating. And you have a whole 2 weeks. But anyway, I think she's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm glad I stick around to see that. It was really
Yeah, so just wait till week 8. You're all going to be crocheting your drawings. I have that kind of power.
It's true, you do.
Be careful. All right, now you can all go have a good week.
All right.
Later.
Oh, there's how you turn the hang off off. Hang out off. All right.
Oh, wait.